A nice warm welcome for Dan Baker.
Good afternoon. What a great venue, huh? I'm a writer from San Francisco, and like many other people, I've asked myself the question that we've all asked all through the eons of human existence: what is this thing, and where is it going, and who are we, and when are they coming back to get it? You know, and I got interested in a little theory, and I wrote a skit about it a long time ago, and I remember most of it, and I'm going to perform for you today. Very pious guy dies, spent his whole life being a very pious Christian, going to church and tipping his 10% and going to confession and the whole thing, and whammo, he dies. And you know, he wakes up and wow, there he is in the reception room at the judgment place. And you know, it all really was really real, and there he is in his judgment, and he's going, oh man, I'm so glad I you know, did all that stuff. And the reception guy says, listen, I'll tell you what, you're here at a good time. We want to get you right in because we got a bus crash in Peru, and it's going to be a busy day, so go right on in. And the reception guy grabs him and says, by the way, you know, laugh, okay? And the pious guy says, what do you mean laugh? And he says, you'll find out, just go in, go in. So he goes in, and wow, there it is, God, on a big chair, big hairy guy. And he stands there, and God looks at him and says, you know, I'm going to be busy today, we'll just rip right through this. He said, I got a question for you. And the guy says, yes, God, what is it? And he says, did you get it? Did you get it? Did you get it? And the guy says, well, I went to church and I prayed, and no. God says, no, didn't you get it? Didn't you get the whole thing? And the guy says, I don't quite know what you're saying. And he says, look, we did everything we could. We put salt in the water. Wasn't that a scream? The whole thing is a joke. We put salt in the water. 100 trillion gallons of water, and there's salt in it. Did you think that was funny? The guy says, well, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Well, listen, I'll tell you what. What did you think about turning lights on and off all the time? Did you like that? It gets dark, it's light, gets dark, it's light. You think that was funny? It took us all day to figure that out. He says, no, I don't know, God. And then he says, well, listen. Then we made it hot and cold all the time. Just when you get used to being hot, it gets cold. Then it gets cold and it gets hot. It's funny as shit, isn't it? Hot, cold, lights on, hot, cold, hot, cold. God looks at him. God says, you didn't think that was funny? I don't know. And so he says, oh man, I said, we worked overtime to send you the message. He said, you know what we did? We had so much fun that day. He said, you know, we looked at all these mammals, and we're looking at these mammals going, mammal. Well, I got an idea. Why don't we have this one mammal where the breast stays enlarged throughout life? The only one. Didn't you get that? I don't know. And then he said, well, I'll tell you what. We gave you 2 of everything important except the heart. You didn't get that? You didn't figure that one out? No. So the guy says, God says to him, he says, well, we did one other thing while we were fooling around in the mammal part. He said, we decided just to stick the sex button down and leave it down all the time. Every other mammal in the world gets horny once a year. We run around all year trying to get laid. Did you think that was funny? Well, I was always pious my whole life. And then God says to me, he says, look, I said, we did make a mistake. Well, we were screwing around. Somebody came up with the idea, well, listen, why don't we just give them 4 pounds of brains, 3 times as much as any other mammal, and just maybe they'll figure it out. You know, we were trying to give every shot we could at getting this. The guy doesn't say anything, and God looks at him and says, don't you think that's funny? You don't think I'm funny? Well, you don't think I'm funny? Why don't you say so? Oh, it's funny. I guess so. And this big trap door opens behind him, and God says, you don't think I'm funny? Anyway, there was a little more of that, but that was the original. So, like a couple minutes?
You actually got 1 more minute.
1 more minute. I'll give you a quick one. I wrote another one called The Office Party at the Planet Factory. But the guys that are working in a planet factory making planets, and they got 1 planet to do before the office party, and guess what planet they're working on, right? They got to get it out before the office party, and they started drinking a little early and get a little hosed, and started laying the crust on, and the guy, Ernie is laying the crust on, and one of the office girls bumps his arm, and he crashes the crust together, and he goes, "Oh no, he screwed his planner." And this guy, buddy next to him, says, "Don't worry about it, Ernie." He said, it's not your fault, it's Andrea's fault. Anyway, am I done?
Yeah,
Anyway, those are a couple of short stories I wrote.